Hello, students. Today we will discuss the chapter excretion and elimination of the waste products. Okay, so what is the importance of excretion in our body? Why we need to eliminate the waste products? We know that there are various metabolic processes taking place in our body. As a result of various metabolism, there are different types of waste products are formed that should be eliminated. Otherwise, it is highly toxic to our body, right? So, it is very important to eliminate all those waste products from the body. So, in this chapter, we will discuss about what are the various waste products produced in our body, how it is eliminated, which are the different organs and organ system involved in the removal of waste products. Okay, shall we start? So, what is the difference? You might be learned about there are two terms, excretion and egestion, right? Excretion and egestion. Can anybody say what is the difference between excretion and egestion? Yes. Excretion is what? Excretion is the removal of nitrogenous waste material. Okay, the metabolic waste products, especially the nitrogenous waste products, is eliminated, and that process is called the excretion. And what are the metabolic waste materials produced in our body? There will be urea, carbon dioxide, excess salt, and excess water. All this should be eliminated. And there is another term, egestion. Egestion is related to the digestive system. Whatever we are intaking as a food, it will be digested in which part of the digestive system? It is in the small intestine, right? After that, some undigested food will be there. That undigested food that will be eliminated through the large intestine and through the anus. That is called egestion. So should not be any confusion. What is excretion? What is egestion? Right? So undigested food, fiber, bacteria, and in that bile pigment, all will be excreted out or eliminated out in the form of feces. That is called egestion. Okay. So here we are discussing about the excretion. What are the various excretory products? Okay, so in different organism you can see the different types of excretory products that is based on their habitat, water availability, and evolutionary adaptations where they are living, whether it is an aquatic form, terrestrial form, or they are living in the very arid condition. Based on that, there are different types of nitrogenous waste products are produced in the body. Okay, so what are the examples? Yes, ammonia, urea, and uric acid. Okay, so these are the major nitrogenous waste material produced in different organisms. That is based on their habitat, water availability, and evolutionary adaptations. So there are nitrogenous waste like ammonia, urea, uric acid. In addition to that, there are gaseous waste and also ionic waste. What are the gaseous waste? Along with those nitrogenous waste, there will be carbon dioxide and water vapor. Ions also, Na plus, sodium ions, K plus, potassium ions, chloride ions, etc. also there, and based on the amount required in our body, after that excess should be eliminated. Okay, so remember major excretory products in animals. So based on the type of those nitrogenous waste material produced by the organism, they are classified into different types. For example, we can say ammonotelic organism, ammonotelic organisms there, ureotelic organism, and uricotelic organism. So that is the organisms are classified into three categories based on the type of nitrogenous waste they are eliminating. Okay, so ammonotelic is there, ureotelic is there, uricotelic is there. So let's discuss in detail what and all these different forms. So there are three strategies of nitrogen based excretion. The different animals have evolved distinct strategies for dealing the nitrogenous waste from the protein metabolism. Okay, so what are the different strategies? Let's start with the first, ammonotelic organism. So ammonotelic organism, as we already discussed, that their major nitrogenous waste is the ammonia. So protein metabolism, okay, as a result of the breaking down of protein, what is the final product we'll get? That is the amino acids, right? From the amino acids, there will be ammonia formed. And we should know about the features of ammonia. Ammonia is highly toxic substance. Whenever it is formed in the body, it should be eliminated immediately. We cannot keep the ammonia in our body. And another important feature is ammonia, it is readily soluble in water. Soluble in water. And for the elimination of ammonia, large amount of water required. Large amount of water required for the elimination of ammonia. So what kind of organisms you can see this primary nitrogenous waste as ammonia? Yes, from the picture you can make it aquatic organisms. Okay, so aquatic organisms such as bony fish specifically, okay, not cartilaginous fish, bony fish. Can you give some examples of bony fish? Yes, yeah, mackerel, tuna, then tilapia, cutla, rohu, all these are the bony fishes, right? So bony fishes remove the nitrogenous waste in the form of ammonia. In addition to that, aquatic invertebrates, aquatic invertebrates, and even the amphibians, they are completely aquatic forms like salamander and all. Okay, so they also remove the nitrogenous waste in the form of ammonia. So here the important thing, remember the features of ammonia and the organisms involved, organisms, ammonotelic organisms, right? So moving on to the second type is the ureotelic organism. So what are ureotelic organism? These organism, their primary nitrogenous waste is urea. So best example is mammals. Like humans, we all eliminate the nitrogenous waste material in the form of urea. So whatever we are having the proteins, these undergo various metabolism, breaking down and finally form the ammonia only. Okay. And this ammonia will be converted into less toxic urea in the liver. And the process is called a urea cycle or ornithine cycle. So remember, ornithine cycle takes place in the liver. And what is that ornithine cycle? Conversion of ammonia into less toxic urea. Okay, but one thing is, for the conversion, there are energy required. But one advantage is there, we can conserve the water. Okay, we have to conserve water because we are not living in the aquatic environment. So this is like a one type of adaptations for the terrestrial organisms. Okay, so clear about the ureotelic organisms. Ureotelic organism, they remove the nitrogenous waste in the form of urea. And when you compare the ammonia and urea, urea is less toxic than the ammonia. That is one point, and less amount of water required for its elimination. Less amount of water required for its elimination. Okay. And examples, remember the examples, mammals including humans, then many adult amphibians. For example, I can say frog, toads, all these are examples of this ureotelic organisms, and also the cartilaginous fish like a shark and ray fish involved in this. And what is the significance of ureotelic organisms removing the urea? For the conservation of the water. That is good for the terrestrial life. Right? Moving on to the third type is the uricotelic organism. So, what is their primary nitrogenous waste? Their primary nitrogenous waste is the uric acid. when you compare all the three nitrogenous waste materials, what are they? Ammonia, urea, then uric acid, which is the least toxic one, uric acid, which is a highly toxic, ammonia. Okay, so ammonia is highly toxic, urea is less toxic, and uric acid is the least toxic waste material. And then another important point is there is no water required for the elimination. Okay, so this is one of the advantage of the organism living in a dry conditions. They can conserve maximum water. So maximizing the water conservation, some organisms they remove the nitrogenous waste in the form of uric acid. What are the examples we can say? Reptiles are there, birds, insects, and land snails. Remember all the four examples: reptiles, birds, insects, and land snails. What is the advantage? They can minimal, there will be a minimal water loss during the excretion. So they can conserve the maximum water in their body. So is that clear about the different types of organisms based on the type of nitrogenous waste material they removed? Okay. So next part of according to the NCERT textbook is we have to learn about the human excretory system. So in the lower class you might be already learned about what is the excretory system, what is its function, what are the different parts of the excretory system, right? Just a recap here. So excretory system, the urinary system picture you can see here, they are involved in the elimination of the nitrogenous waste products in the form of urine. Okay, so the urea, as we already discussed, the urea is produced in the liver. That will be transported to the kidney. And in the kidney, what happens? There is filtration taking place. Filtration of the blood with the all waste products, mainly the urea, and all will be collected and transported through the ureter and finally collected into the urinary bladder. And what is the function of the urinary bladder? Urinary bladder is urinary bladder collect the urine and it stores the urine temporarily, and whenever it is filled, the bladder filled around 400 ml and all, then the urethral sphincter muscles relax and the urinary bladder muscles contract, which causes the elimination of urine. Right? That's what we are going to discuss in detail. So remember the different parts of the excretory system. First is the major organs are a pair of kidney. Two kidneys are there we have, right? So the kidneys are located in the abdominal cavity, both the sides of the vertebral column. It is located retroperitoneally. And its weight is around 120 to 170 gram. Its length around 10 to 12 centimeter. Its width around 5 to 7 centimeter. And its thickness is around 2 to 3 centimeter. So remember, our kidney's length is 10 to 12 centimeter, width 5 to 7 centimeter, and the thickness is around 2 to 3 centimeter. And its weight 120 to 170 grams. Each kidney consists of millions of functional unit. What is its name? It is nephron. Don't confuse with the nephrons and the neurons. What are neurons? Neurons are the functional unit of nervous system, right? Here, nephrons. What are nephrons? They are the functional unit of excretory system, kidney. Kidney is made up of lot of millions of functional units called nephrons. Kidney followed by tubular structure, muscular tubes, we can see two tubular structures, right? And that open into the urinary bladder. That is called a ureter. And what is the function of the ureter? To transport urine from the kidney towards the urinary bladder. Simply, it won't transmit. There should be a specific movement, and that is the peristaltic contraction. This word you might be learned in the digestive system, right? The peristaltic contraction here also we can see. And the length of the ureter is around 25 to 30 centimeter. Ureters open into a sac-like structure, that is urinary bladder. Urinary bladder is a hollow muscular organ. And what is the function of the urinary bladder? It stores the urine temporarily. Only the temporary storage. So the bladder can hold 400 to 600 ml of urine. So the urge to urinate typically begins 150 to 200 ml. We have the starting the urge to urinate, but it can hold maximum 400, 500, like that range. Then urinary bladder followed by a small opening called a urethra. Urethra is surrounded by sphincter muscles. So this sphincter muscles only controlling the urination, and the urination, the medical term is there, that is called a micturition. So micturition is controlled by the special kind of muscles present on the wall of the urethra, the sphincter muscles. And when you check the males and females urethra, the length varies, right? So the length of male urethra is around 20 centimeter, and the females it is shorter, around 4 centimeter. Okay, so these are the different parts of human urinary system or human excretory system. So in the coming session, we will discuss in more detailed about the kidney nephrons and how is the urine formation taking place. Okay, so I hope you understood till today's session till here. Thank you all of you and have a great day.